What's the most brutal case of karma you've ever witnessed? A few months after my mother passed away and my father met a younger woman. Me being the understanding daughter knew that in time father would eventually meet someone else that made him happy again. This happened much earlier than I had anticipated, but I wasn't one to complain. I had seen pictures of her before on his phone accidentally. I didn't approach my father about this, but I knew in his own time he would tell me about her. My father eventually introduced his girlfriend to me, who was working as a waitress at the local bar. She was very young. My dad was 51, she was 18. I was 19. Not a big issue. I wouldn't call our family rich, but we have always been comfortable. I had a wonderful upbringing, but was raised in a way not to ever look down on anyone else. There were a few things about her that had irritated my friends and family, but I didn't really have too many issues with her, except for one thing. I am not one to judge, but I knew right from the start that she was the epitome of a gold digger. 3 months into their relationship, her behaviors were starting to tick me off. She would be out all weekend for parties, come home, cook up a storm and leave the house again, leaving the kitchen to the bathroom in a complete mess. I didn't mind cleaning up after her at first, but after having to do it every day, that's when I got irritated. Thankfully, I was successful in moving out of my father's house to a city that was about a 4-hour drive away. It was such a huge relief to get away from her. Every weekend, I would make the long drive to see my dad and make sure he was okay. Now anytime I received anything as a gift from dad or he helped me purchase anything, she would always say, "Why did you buy this for her, and not buy for me?" Or something similar to, "Why does she get that, and I don't?" These constant comparisons were ticking me off, but as always, I never made an issue out of it and kept my mouth shut. She failed in her studies that my father had paid for, and chose instead to spend her weekends drinking and entertaining her multiple boyfriends that she had kept hidden from my father. After my father had complained about the state of the house being messy, she then suggested to him that they should employ one of her cousins as a housemaid. My father agreed and her cousin became our housemaid. The house was cleaner, but her behavior was still the same. My father was always away on international business trips and his girlfriend took these opportunities to invite her multiple boyfriends over to the house. At this point, my father had fallen very ill. She continued her partying and drinking and only came home to see my father when she would run out of money. By this time my dad had bought her countless gifts, took her overseas for holidays, and showered her with luxury while paying for her education, which she failed at, twice. She took his luxury car and drove drunk to one of her boyfriend's house, and ended up crashing the car. It was completely totaled and she tried to play it off like she wasn't at fault. After numerous attempts of trying to tell my dad to get out of this toxic relationship, this event proved to be the turning point of the relationship. My father called quits on the relationship there and then and advised me to cut all connections with her. I happily did so, not that there was any strong connection to begin with. But it was karma that had the final say. She went straight into a new relationship with one of her boyfriends. He resented her and the great lifestyle she had experienced with my father. She had tried to convince her new boyfriend that she was rich, but her story fell apart without all of the amenities my father provided. To top things off, my father ended up marrying her cousin, the maid. She is now struggling to get a steady job and find another relationship that was as fulfilling as the one she had with my father. He is now happy with his second wife, and they were just blessed with the most adorable baby boy. And to be honest, my father is the happiest I have ever seen him.